May 8th, 2016. Story time again, people. I'm in the Einstein book again. Page 78. This is where I'm going to start off. It's going to be a little read, but hang in there with me. He soon learned that he could work on the patent applications so quickly that it left time for him to sneak in his own scientific thinking during the day. I was able to do a full day's work in only 2 or 3 hours, he recalled. The remaining part of the day, I would work out my own ideas. His boss, Frederick Haller, was a man of good-natured, growling skepticism and genial humor who graciously ignored the sheets of paper that cluttered Einstein's desk and vanished into his drawer when people would come see him. Whenever anybody would come by, I would cram my notes into my desk drawer and pretend to work on my office work. Indeed, we should not feel sorry for Einstein that he felt himself exiled from the cloisters of academia. He came to believe that it was a benefit to his science rather than a burden, to work instead in that worldly cloister where I hatched my most beautiful ideas. He means outside of academia. Every day, he would do thought experiments based on theoretical premises, sniffing out the underlying realities, focusing on real-life questions. He later said, stimulated me to see the physical ramifications of theoretical concepts. Among the ideas that he had to consider for patents were dozens of new methods for synchronizing clocks and coordinating time through signals sent at the speed of light. In addition, his boss Haller had a credo that was useful for a creative and rebellious theorist as it was for a patent examiner. You have to remain critically vigilant. Question every premise, challenge conventional wisdom, and never accept the truth of something merely because everyone else views it as obvious. Resist being credulous. When you pick up an application, Haller instructed, think that everything the inventor says is wrong. Einstein had grown up in a family that created patents and tried to apply them in business, and he found a process to be fulfilling. It reinforced one of his ingenious talents, the ability to conduct thought experiments in which he could visualize how a theory would play out in practice. It also helped him peel off the irrelevant facts that surrounded a problem. Had he been consigned instead to the job of assistant to a professor, he might have felt compelled to churn out safe publications and be overly cautious in challenging accepted notions. As he later noted, originality and creativity were not prime assets for climbing academic ladders, especially in the German-speaking world, and he would have felt pressure to conform to the prejudice or prevailing wisdom of his patrons. An academic career in which a person is forced to produce scientific writings in great amounts creates a danger of intellectual superficiality, he said. As a result, the happenstance that landed him on a stool at the Swiss Patent Office rather than as an acolyte in academia likely reinforced some of the traits destined to make him successful. A merry skepticism about what appeared on the pages in front of him and an independence of judgment that allowed him to challenge basic assumptions. There were no pressures or incentives among the patent examiners to behave otherwise. Now, the reason why I'm reading this is that you always have to challenge basic assumptions. Einstein was told by his boss, Haller. Haller. I don't know how to pronounce that in German, but that's what he instructed Einstein to do. Think that everything the inventor says is wrong. And I want my listeners to know that when they look at Wikipedia pages, when they look at mainstream publications, when they read archive entries in the online repository, when they see popular magazines pumping out all these ideas, just switch inventor with the word scientist and think as Haller instructed Einstein to think, with skepticism. Now, skepticism doesn't mean, oh, you take the weird stuff and you throw it out the window. No. Skepticism means you are skeptical of every claim, even the ones that come from the ivory towers. That's how you do science. Think that everything the scientist says is wrong. Everything. That's how you make great discoveries. And that's what I want my listeners to understand.